Welcome to SAT Prep Thursday. Today we're doing College Board SAT Practice Test number 9, Part 4, numbers 1 through 19. This is a calculator approved section, so I will be using either a TI-30XS or a TI-30XA. Also, there's a file link in the description for this practice test. What value of x satisfies the equation 3x plus 3 is equal to 27? To solve this, first we're going to go ahead and move 3 to the other side, giving us that 3x is equal to 24. Divide both sides by 3, giving us that x is 8, b is the answer. 2 units of length used in ancient Egypt were cubits and palms, where 1 cubit is equivalent to 7 palms. The Great Sphinx statue in Giza is approximately 140 cubits long. Which of the following best approximates the length in palms of the Great Sphinx statue? So we know that we're dealing with 140 cubits, and 1 cubit is equivalent to 7 palms. So 1 cubit equals 7 palms. This means I could look at 1 over 7 being equal to 140 cubits over p palms. So that's going to give me p is equal to 140 times 7, which is 980, so D is the answer. If 2n over 5 is equal to 10, what is the value of 2n minus 1? Well, multiply both sides by 5. This is going to give us 2n is equal to 50. Dividing by 2 means n is 25. Now, 2 times 25 minus 1, that would give us 49, so B is the answer. Which of the following values is not a solution to the above equation? I think the easiest way to do this is simply by substitution, where negative 4 squared is positive 16, and 16 square rooted would be 4. Now, is that equal to negative 4? No, it is not. So it looks like A is the answer. 0 squared is 0, square rooted is 0, which is equal to 0, that would work. 1 squared is 1, square rooted is 1, that would be equal to 1. 3 squared is 9, square rooted is 3, and that would also be equal to 3, so yes, A is the answer. For questions 5 and 6, we're going to refer to the following information. In an experiment, a heated cup of coffee is removed from a heat source, and the cup of coffee is left in a room that is kept at a constant temperature. The graph above shows the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of the coffee immediately after being removed from the heat source and at 10-minute intervals thereafter. Of the following, which best approximates the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of the coffee when it is first removed from the heat source? So if we were to just go look, the very beginning is just under 200 degrees. And as far as the answers are concerned, 195 is the closest to 200. During which of the following 10-minute intervals does the temperature of the coffee decrease at the greatest range? From 0 to 10 looks like the sharpest down that we get right here. And I don't see anything that's going to be anything more than that, meaning A is the answer. It's important to note that this figure is not drawn to scale. In the figure above, AD intersects BE at C. If x is equal to 100, what is the value of y? Well, if x is 100, then what we can say is this angle right here is 180 minus 100 minus 20, which means that we're winding up with 60 degrees. This 60 degrees also occurs here because they're vertical angles. So if we have 60 degrees and we have 40 degrees, that makes a 100. So y is equal to 180 minus 100 degrees, or 80 degrees. C is the answer. The line graphed in the XY plane below models the total cost in dollars for a cab ride Y in a certain city during non-peak hours based on the number of miles traveled X. According to the graph, what is the cost for each additional mile traveled in dollars for this cab ride? Ultimately, what we're looking at here is the slope of this. Now, it starts at 3. If I was to go to another point where it intersects, I see here. So I can travel up 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right, 1, 2. So currently, I'm dealing with a slope of 4 over 2, or 2. so A is the answer. On Tuesday, a local gas station had 135 customers. The table above summarizes whether or not the customers on Tuesday purchased gasoline, a beverage, both, or neither. Based on the data in the table, what is the probability that a gas station customer selected at random on that day did not purchase gasoline? So we start with this very simple idea that there were 135 customers, and 50 of these customers did not purchase gasoline. So that would mean that 50 out of 135 customers did not purchase gasoline. We don't even have to simplify. D is the answer. Washington High School randomly selected freshmen, sophomore, junior, and senior students for a survey about potential changes to next year's schedule. Of students selected for the survey, 1/4 were freshmen, 1/3 were sophomore, half of the remaining selected students were juniors. If 336 students were selected for the survey, how many were seniors? Let's start by figuring out how many of these were freshmen. And 1/4 of the 336 were freshmen, which means that I wind up with 84 freshmen. Of the students, sophomores, 1/3 is how many were selected of the 336, which means that 112 were sophomores. Now, at this point, we want to figure out how many students are remaining in the survey. That means we're going to take the total number of survey students, which was 336, subtract 84, subtract 112, and we're going to wind up with 140 students remaining. Of that, for the juniors, the 140 students, half of them were juniors, so 70, meaning D is the answer. Plant A is currently 20 centimeters tall, and plant B is currently 12 centimeters tall. The ratio of the height of plant A to plant B is equal to the ratio of the height of plant C to plant D. If plant C is 54 centimeters tall, what is the height of plant D in centimeters? So we're looking at A over B being equal to C over D. This is going to give us 20 over 12 being equal to 54 over X. This means that X is equal to 54 times 12 divided by 20. So X is 32.4. A is the answer. Biologists found a new species of pale shrimp at the world's deepest undersea vent, the Beebe Vent Field. The vent is 3.1 miles beneath the sea's surface. Approximately how many kilometers below the sea's surface is the vent, when 1 kilometer is equal to 0.624 miles? We're looking at setting up a ratio that's going to be kilometers over miles. And we know that 1 kilometer is equal to 0.624 miles. This is going to be equal to X over 3.1. So 3.1 divided by 0.624 is going to be equal to X, which is approximately 4.99, or 5 is the answer. A cargo helicopter delivers only 100-pound packages and 120-pound packages. For each delivery trip, the helicopter must carry at least 10 packages, and the total weight of the packages can be at most 1,100 pounds. What is the maximum number of 120-pound packages that the helicopter can carry per trip? So we're going to set up a system of inequalities. We have 100-pound packages, X, plus 120-pound packages, Y, must be less than or equal to 1,100 pounds. So all of this was about weight. But the second one is X plus Y, 100-pound packages and 120-pound packages must be greater than or equal to 10. Let's multiply this bottom equation by a negative 100. So the first thing is we copy the top equation. Now we multiply the bottom equation by negative 100, giving us negative 100x minus 100y is greater than or equal to 1,000. Adding these together lets us eliminate the x's, giving us 20y. And we're going to go ahead and call it equals 100, meaning y is 5. So 5 is our answer. A company purchased a machine valued at $120,000. The value of the machine depreciates by the same amount each year so that after 10 years, the value will be $30,000. Which of the following equation gives the value V of the machine in dollars T years after it was purchased for 0 is less than or equal to T less than or equal to 10? So we're going to be writing an equation where y is equal to mx plus b. Now, we already know what this y value is going to be. That's going to be our $30,000 that we're left with. We know what the b value is. That's $120,000. The mx, now that we don't really know, but we do know x, the number of years. We do not know its depreciation value. So we're going to call this 10m so that we can figure out its depreciation. Moving 1,200 to the other side, we're going to wind up with a negative 90,000 is equal to 10x. Dividing both sides by 10, what we're going to wind up with is $9,000 every year of depreciation. This means we're looking at a negative value. It is going down in value, $9,000 every single year. So I need a negative 9,000t, which I do have in these cases, but not in these cases, eliminating C and D as the answers. Now, if we looked at this original equation, we would be having y is equal to negative 9,000 m plus its original value of $120,000, which means B is the answer. Line M on the XY plane contains the points 2, 4, and 0, 1. Which of the following equation is equivalent to line M? So I'm fairly lazy, and I find that graphing is very easy to deal with. So I get my 0, 1 point, and I have a 2 point. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This right here means in the y is mx plus b, I need a plus 1. It really does leave D as the answer, but if I went to figure out the slope, I would find that we went up 3, right 2, which means that yes, D is the answer. In the expression above, A is a constant. If the expression is equivalent to bx, where B is a constant, what is the value of B? So let's multiply out all of this to start with. This is going to give us a 4ax squared minus 4x plus 4ax minus 4. Now over here we have a minus x squared and we have a plus 4. So these 4's get to eliminate for us. This is going to give us right here 4a minus 1, and these are x squareds. And if I looked at these two, and if I looked at these two, and I took the x out of them, this would give me a 4a minus 4x. Now, for convenience, I just switched their order to put the minus coming second. Now, it said all of this was equivalent to bx. So we really want to understand what happens if I'm looking at this, if this right here went away. That would mean that I would have 4a minus 1 was equal to 0. So 4a is 1. And at this point, I have a little bit of a shortcut because I have a 4a here, which means I'm dealing with a 1 minus 4. Now, 1 minus 4 means that what I'm looking at is a negative 3x. Remember, we're looking at bx, so the number in front of x. And here we have it when negative 3 happens. So B is the answer. If 2w plus 4t is equal to 14 and 4w plus 5t is equal to 25, what is the value of 2w plus 3t? Let's look at the very simple, we have a system of equations. So if I just set them up that way so I can see it, then I can go ahead and multiply the top equation by a negative 2. This is going to give me negative 4w minus 8t is equal to negative 28. Copy the bottom equation of 4w, I don't know why I put a negative there, 4w plus 5t is equal to 25. Add both of these equations together, which eliminates the w's. This is going to give me a negative 3t is equal to negative 3, or that t is equal to 1. Now, if t is equal to 1, I can substitute that into one of the original equations, meaning I can say 2w plus 4 times t, which is 1, is equal to 14. So 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract that from both sides, giving me 2w is 10, or w is 5. Now I have a t value and I have a w value. It wants to know the value of 2w plus 3t. So 2 times 5 plus 3 times 1. That would be a 10 plus 3, meaning C is the answer at 13. For questions 18 and 19, we're going to refer to the following information. Jennifer bought a box of Crunchy Grain cereal. The nutrition facts on the box state that the serving size of the cereal is 3/4 of a cup and provides 210 calories, 50 of which are calories from fat. In addition, each serving of cereal provides 180 milligrams of potassium, which is 5% of the daily allowance for adults. If P% of the adult's daily allowance of potassium is provided by X servings of Crunchy Grain cereal per day, which of the following expresses P in terms of X? So we're dealing with P% and we're looking at potassium. This means we're trying to find X servings, and we want this thing P in terms of X. So we want a P equals. Now, 5% is 0.5, but we can leave it just simply as the 5 because we're talking about it in terms of percent, not numbers themselves. So we're looking at 5X, which means that B is the answer. On Tuesday, Jennifer will mix Crunchy Grain cereal with Super Grain cereal for her breakfast. Super Grain cereal provides 240 calories per cup. If the total number of calories in 1 cup of Jennifer's mixture is 270, how much Super Grain cereal is in 1 cup of the mixture? We're going to start by thinking about Crunchy Grain cereal, which had 210 calories. Now, this was in 3/4 of a cup, which means that we're dealing with 280 calories per cup. So if they had 240 from S, from Super Grain, and we had 280 calories from C, Crunchy Grain, and we equaled 270 calories, where we know that S and C both made 1 cup of cereal. So we're going to multiply the bottom equation by a negative 280 to get rid of this 280C. This means I get negative 280S minus 280C minus 280. I add both these equations together, which will eliminate the C's, giving me a negative 40S is equal to negative 10. So S is equal to 1/4, or 1/4 cup. B is the answer.